everyone, it's Jez here from Nigezza.co.uk, and if you follow my blog then you will have seen that yesterday I was part of a blog hop for InspireINK. So I do that every month, usually comes out on around the last Saturday of the month, which is why it was yesterday. And we have a theme, and we're all a group of Stamping Up demonstrators. So each project is current Stamping Up stuff, and we all follow the same theme, and we always manage to do something completely different. Our theme for this weekend was Winter Thank You. And if you've been on my blog, you would have seen that this is the card that I made for that blog hop, and this is the tutorial to show you how I made it. And if you have clicked on here because you stumbled across the blog hop yesterday and wanted to see how I made it, then welcome and thank you, and I'm really glad you're joining me. So what have I used to make this? Well, I've used the thank you there from Abstract Impressions, and then everything else is First Frost. Love, love, love this set. Late to the party, but I am totally engaged now. I'm here and love it. So I've used some of the foliage stamps, but it didn't have a thank you. So that's why I took the thank you from there. I really love that font there. It's like you've written it yourself. Really like it. And I've used the coordinating dies that go with that set, the frosted bouquet framelits, and I'm just doing these two foliages ones around there. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm using mint macaron and tranquil tide and a bit of whisper white to make it. So it is my normal card base. So in the UK this is C6 card, so it's a piece of A4 cut in half, scored in half. Would work the same if you're using American sizes. Just adjust your mats accordingly. I cut my mats so they are 1/4 of an inch shorter and thinner, and all measurements will be over on my blog Nigezza.co.uk. So I've got one for the outside and one for the inside. Okay, so I'm doing like a wreath. I did do a Christmas card with the Joyous Noel, that beautiful set, which I can't believe it's not carrying over. I love it. And that I loved that effect, so I thought, well, you know, wreaths aren't just for Christmas, are they? And I just thought that was a beautiful design, so I would do it again. Okay, so I did a mixture of stamping and die cutting. So I mounted the foliage ones, and I've done a mixture of the mint macaron and the tranquil tide. So I started with this long one, and I just stamped him coming out into each of the corners. It doesn't matter about the overlapping in the middle because that's going to get covered up. So I did that one, and then I took this one and I sort of stamped the top bit with mint macaron. I remember when it first came out, and I used to say they're macaroons, and other demos were saying macaron, and it's macaroons, but actually it's spelt with one O, and I think macaroons got two, but I could be wrong. I'm dyslexic, so what do I know about spelling? So yes, so I did this, so it was half the lighter green and the leaves were the darker green, and I'm going light to dark so I don't put dark on that one, and I just kind of stamped it around in a random fashion, and you end up with this sort of dark green mess in the middle, but it doesn't matter because you are going to cover it up. And then I took this lovely bit of foliage in the dark and just put that around got a bit of ink there on my new mat. Gutted. And then I just took a scrap of Whisper White, which is hiding. There it goes. And I took my thank you, and in the Tranquil Tide, I just forgot momentarily what the colour was. I stamped that out, and then I took from this is the other ones, the stitched framelets. I took the second smallest die to cut that out. And whilst I was die cutting, I then die cut those lovely foliage shapes. I did 2 each of these two in both the Tranquil Tide and the Mint Macaron, but this is true Blue Peter style. If you're not watching in the UK, you might not have a clue what I mean, but Blue Peter was was still going actually, children's program, and they would say, this is one I did earlier, so there we have it, one I did earlier. I did experiment with doing a mat, and I actually don't think I liked it as much with the mat, but I cut one out anyway with the layering ovals. So we've got 2 each of each of these shapes to be randomly placed around that centre. So I just put a bit of snail in the middle, and then I just started sort of placing them. So I sort of did it kind of random, but kind of thought about it, if you get what I mean. So I used these sort of big ones for around each of the edges, and then sort of filled in with these ones, and they're only attached in the middle, so it's got some sort of lift, which I thought was quite cool. You can of course add more foliage if you want, it's entirely up to you. Now this is what it looks like with a border. Let me put that underneath. You see how that mess is all covered up now? So that's what it's like with a bit of a border, and that's what it's like without. So you can see the difference. Without, with. And I think I prefer that way. I'm actually going to do this one with, then you can properly compare, and then I'll have 2 sorts. We decided thank yous because it's after Christmas and lots of you will be possibly sending thank you cards. Winter theme, because it is winter. Well, it is winter here. I know there's probably places that are watching me where it isn't winter. I know people watch it from Australia, and there'll be places in America where it's still sunny and warm, but it's Baltic here, as we like to say, and we're proper nithered. So yeah. So I'll put that in there, and then we just want to stick this down. I'm going to use some fast fuse for quickness because it's quite sort of making it a little bit heavier, I think, with the all that foliage. I'd use Tombow, only it's not to hand. So there we are. Do you know? And then stick that on there with my border. Lovely. So that is the 2 differences. One with, one without. I still prefer it without, I think. And then just to finish off on the inside, I did a little bit of stamping. I'm going to bring in a bit of scrap, and I'm going to use these two again. Could have done this whilst I was already had my stampers out, but never mind. So stamped off first, and then I just did this actually fully with the mint matte bronze, so I'm going to give it a little bit of a clean, getting rid of that. Tranquil tide there, and I'm going to do full strength. Like so, and that is just to make the inside a little bit interesting. I do like it when we have a little bit of printing, and I will often print on the oh, I went a little bit wrong with my trimmer there. I might just trim that little tad off because that's not very pretty. And I'm going to all that trouble of making the inside of my card pretty. There, that's better. I don't want it to fluff up at the end, do you? There. And there we have it. 2 lovely thank you cards ready to go to. The kids can send them out to Grandma and Grandad. There we are. Hope you like it. All the details will be on my blog. Please go to my blog and please have a little look round the InspireINK blog hop, because it will be inspiring. And maybe you can tell me, which do you like best? One with the layer around the thank you or one without? I suppose they're both all right, aren't they, really? Okay, see you again soon. Bye.